In this video, I'll be installing Hardie Backer in a walk-in shower, and I prefer Hardie Backer for all of the showers that I remodel. I want the most durable product, the strongest product, not some flimsy, weak foam board. Hardie Backer is a cement backer board, and it's very strong. It can be attached to every surface I have ever encountered in a shower. Now, whenever it comes to putting the screws in along this border of the Hardie Backer, I like to go ahead and put a screw in at every single stud. You don't have to do that on the vertical parts. As long as you hit one stud, and of course, no more than 16 inches apart going left to right. Now I like to go ahead and put a screw in at every single stud here, even if they are really close together here. I want to mark each stud location, and that may help me keep track of things like where the shower valve is. Now, of course, you see the shower valve, right? But where is, the end of this pipe? If the stud spacing was further and the pipes were spread out, it would help you identify where everything is at. Also going to help out with locating the screws for the sheet of Hardie Backer above this as well. So in order to speed things up here and make sure that I hit these studs, I also have a laser level here that does horizontal and vertical lines. This second button back here does the vertical. So let's say I'm over here on this sort of middle part here. I can line it up with one of the screws, and then I just follow that line down. I don't have to draw a level line. Another little trick that I do is I'll just take my fingers here, pinky to thumb, and that's about 8 3/4 of an inch. So just a little bit shorter than that. You don't have to fully stretch it out. Just a little bit shorter than that, that's 8 inches. That's how far we want to space our Hardie screws out, is 8 inches apart, every 8 inches going down. No more than 2 inches from the perimeter here, and obviously not close enough to where it's going to crack the Hardie Backer. Now, I'd rather be safe than sorry here. Over here on the right side of this double stud here, I want to mark out where I know there's some plumbing coming through the slab. So somewhere around there. And when you get screws going down every 8 inches here, once you move over to these other studs here, you may not necessarily have to worry about using your fingers for spacing. You can kind of get an idea for an even screw line across here. Now, when I cut this piece out on the client's front lawn, I went ahead and laid both of these pieces together and drilled out this hole all at one time, and that way these two are guaranteed to line up. If you find yourself getting in the way of the laser here, you can go ahead and just take a pencil here and mark this, down the line here. Kind of make your life a little easy, because I know I'm blocking the laser when I'm doing this here. Of course, once again, using our fingers to space out the screws to get close to that 8 inch mark, backing it out, and resetting it back in order to make sure it's flush with the Hardie here. After I get done applying the Hardie Backer in this walk-in shower, I'll be applying HydroBand waterproofing product over all of the walls, bench, niche, and shower floor in another video. Now, I know I've been filming this whole process as well. When I started this, it was around 220 when I started doing the measuring and then laying out and cutting and so on. So 220 to 420, all screwed in and done. That's exactly an hour per piece. So when you're factoring in the amount of time it's going to take you, factor in an hour a piece. Now realize you've also got some little pieces up here. They're not really going to take you a whole hour for something like this, but at least kind of prorate it for a little bit more than the actual square footage. You still have to go out and do one cut, you know, across here, cut the width here and here, kind of the same as you have to cut the width here and here. The extra length of cutting here and there is really up here, blah, blah, blah. You can't just kind of base it off the square footage. So now when it comes to having a little piece like this, and you're getting up to the top here, you don't have too much to go on other than the screws here, and obviously it's such a short distance, so it shouldn't be hard. It would be helpful though, especially if you're a beginner, to go ahead and make a mark on either side of every single stud. Make a little X there, and so you don't get confused with other things possibly going on in the wall. And maybe while you're at it, you do a few more. But we can take care of that later. Alright, now once again, making the marks here on the lower part of the Hardie, upper part of the Hardie, lower part of the opening. Make out those marks. You might need them later. Just fitting this piece into place. Maybe a little too tight. I like to measure easily within the 16th to 32nd of an inch. There might be some sheetrock that are in the way. Alright, there we go. Nice and tight. Well, this doesn't look like a complicated piece at all, right? You've got the bottom of the shampoo niche right here, and the beginning part of the bench over there on the bottom right corner for you. Let's go ahead and get this in here. Let's see, how tight can Carl possibly get it, huh? Looks pretty nice and perfect there. Let's use our laser here to mark the center location of these studs. So set up my laser right there. You can just use a regular level if you have one. Now in the past I have tried using some countersink bits, that were kind of meant for steel. And this cement board, the Hardie Backer, is just going to wear out those countersink bits. So it's just better to use the screw in reverse instead. Alright, so what's that? 5/28. So that's what, about 40 minutes basically for this piece here. Past the time we did the piece up above, there, the little skinny piece. So 40 minutes, let's see, yeah, 15, 30, so maybe 45, actually it's 29. So about 45 minutes to go ahead and cut this piece. Like I said, in between the whole going to the store, loading, unloading, moving the Hardie Backer over here, to the bathroom, cutting it, all that stuff, better to just figure out, basically an hour per piece. So 1, 2, 3. Started at 220. 529 right now. Pretty good math if you're the one who's actually got an estimate on a job. So don't forget to account for where your cuts are going to be here, because this shower here is 58 inches interior, 64, 65, something like that on the outside of it all, if I remember right. And anyways, because of the stud locations, we've got an extra cut piece over there. So it's not just, if it just happens to be under 5 feet, under that 60 inches, then you should be golden. But since this shower is above that, you're going to have a little cut piece. So kind of factor in a little extra time in your estimate when planning this whole project out. And once again, we're lining up the laser on the center of the stud according to the face of the Hardie Backer, not how it shows up on the actual stud itself behind it. That's some sort of weird angle here. Pretty much like a glove. Now when I was framing this whole bench area here, there was not a bench here before, so I went ahead and put in some 2x4 blocking along the back side here and the side over here. So in case anybody is actually leaning against it, you're not accidentally pushing that Hardie board back into the wall and somehow cause a leak through that Hardie Backer material. Now for this area here, we have a pony wall going down here, and we got this whole bench area down here. I could cut a piece that basically goes a 1/2 inch overlap here and meets up with this here, but that would look a little weird, you know, going down here where there's a space and I have to create other offsets. So it's really best to just go ahead and make this piece here go all the way across, straight down here, notch in and over. All this is one piece here. You can pick up the rest of the space here with another straight piece just like we did on this side here. And then of course this bench top here as well. And when I do this Hardie here going, you know, basically right along here to about that point there, what I'll do is have the Hardie actually go about a 1/2 inch past here. I want to try to do the best I can to protect the drywall here. All of this will get waterproofed with a coating called Hydroban, which you can check out that next video. And it'll all be coated with Hydroban. But anything I can do, for God forbid, if anything should ever leak, I really just want to make sure everything is coated very well. Man, would you look at that? Perfect, first try. Or maybe realistically, closer to like the 4th or 5th try, because I'm trimming it to be nice and tight. I like everything perfect. Now whenever you do these type of pieces here, especially at the corner, really of anything, along the corners here, you gotta be real careful with the screws. So don't forget to pre-drill, kind of wallow out the hole and in all 4 corners. And of course you can do it along here too as well. The reason why I bring it up is these narrower pieces, sometimes because it's so narrow, if you don't pre-drill basically, kind of wallow out the hole like a countersink, then you can actually crack the whole piece in half. Done it plenty of times. perfect. That's a pretty awesome fit. Let's see, which one was the higher one? Must have been this other side there. Yep, that's the one that's a 32nd under 12.5 inches. Not like I expect you to measure that accurately, but I like to show off my measuring skills. Now you don't have to measure this accurately and everything, where I have this measured to a 32nd inch more than 12.5, and now it's a 64th under. You don't have to measure that closely. I just do it because I like all of my jobs to look as good as possible during the rough stage to reassure my clients that everything's going to turn out great. And I got a 5-gallon bucket of Hardie liquid waterproofing